I feel like it's crazy. Like there's so much Naruto content still, and like I feel like all these content creators are running out of material, and there's so much good material. So yeah, we gotta just do it ourselves. But we were just trying to figure out like which uh of the Konoha Seven surpassed their respective Sannin the fastest, right? Like I think that's how we got here. Like, did
Yeah.
Naruto surpass Jiraiya first, or did Sakura beat Tsunade? And it's probably Sasuke beating Orochimaru. And then we just got into a debate on like how strong is Sasuke right from the get go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
can Sasuke right after Shippuden fight Jiraiya or no? And if not, when is he actually stronger than Jiraiya, if ever?
Yeah, and also this is really a question of when does Sasuke become Sannin level too, because we know that Sasuke is super strong, and the scaling kind of gets really crazy by the end of Shippuden. But I think in the beginning of Shippuden though, and the middle of it as well, pretty much up through the pain arc, that's when I think like the matchups are the most interesting because after that point, everyone starts to become like ninja gods and have like unlimited chakra reserves and just be able to spam moves. But like we forget that like Sasuke lost a lot of fights throughout Shippuden, and he was really fighting for his life at times. And it wasn't always like an easy win. Those were some fights where he had to really implement some strategy. And the same thing goes for Jiraiya, even though we didn't really see him do many fights outside of Pain. That fight, I think, demonstrated a lot of his abilities and also demonstrated why Jiraiya is not someone to really sleep on. So, yeah, let's just get into it. What are your initial thoughts as far as like overall who's stronger between Sasuke and Jiraiya? And then we'll get into maybe like the earliest version of Sasuke specifically.
I feel like I'm a certified Sasuke hater, so I gotta make that clear. Like I think Sasuke is completely underpowered. Like you said, a lot of the fights that he has in Shippuden, he's losing, right? Like Killer B wrecked him and his crew. He tried to fight all the Kages at once, which I don't know why you would do that. He did pretty well though, but like
He
probably
healed
wasn't
his
gonna
own.
survive that. Yeah, but he was probably gonna die if Obito didn't like bail him out. I think he was right about to. Uh, but like at that point, the power scaling is like crazy. You know what I mean? Like that is so much past how powerful everyone was. Like even during the Pain arc, I think, or at least right up to the final fight in the Pain arc. Like I don't know, the power scaling is crazy, right? Because like Kakashi is able to somehow keep up with everyone at the end, but beforehand he gets like wrecked by like one path of pain. Like so, yeah, I honestly think, uh, I mean they're both strong. Like I think Sasuke might be stronger, you know, than Jiraiya. That's my take. I think it might be a hot take, but I think even from the get go, right after Shippuden, like I don't know, like Jiraiya needs a lot of like environmental advantages. I think he's a really crafty ninja, but like I don't know if this is like are they fighting in the woods, or are they fighting in Amagakure, or are they like fighting in a ring? Because I think those are really
Let's
different.
give them a neutral setting so that way there's no strategic advantage towards either side. So we could say like it's in a open battlefield with a forest nearby if they want to kind of use that as a strategic retreat.
Okay, so they're in a clearing and there's forests nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Jiraiya's immediately gonna go into the I think forest. So yeah, I don't think he's gonna try to like outspeed Sasuke. But yeah, I don't know. Like Sasuke, I think right from the beginning of Shippuden is pretty busted, right? Like the first time we see him, he's like with Orochimaru and like Kabuto, and like there's nothing like Sasuke, Kakashi, and Naruto can do. I don't know. They're like he's so much stronger. He's on roids now. Like if he's stronger than Orochimaru, who granted doesn't have hands, and Orochimaru's the strongest of the Sannin, like hasn't Sasuke surpassed Sannin by this point?
Okay, you can make an argument that he's definitely Sannin level because again, the reason, and I think also taking it back to how they were originally named as Sannin, it was because of the way they performed during their Ninja War, and I think the feats that they pulled off are definitely spectacular and on par with the things that Naruto and Sasuke are capable of. So, I mean, I can make an argument using that definition for why they're Sannin level. Do I think they're stronger than like the current Sannin? That's an interesting back and forth for me because although I see your point about him being stronger than Orochimaru, I still wonder if he would be stronger than Orochimaru if he was fully healthy with both arms. And you could still, I might still say yes, but I'm just not so quick to say that. The Sharingan is kind of like an unfair advantage. It makes him automatically stronger than most people. by default. So that being said, though, I do gotta give Jiraiya a little bit of credit because Jiraiya has a deep bag of jutsus, and so he's not gonna make it easy for Sasuke. And I also don't think he's gonna be afraid to face him. One thing we know about Jiraiya is that he's quick on his feet. He has a high battle IQ, and he knows how to basically create advantageous. He knows how to create advantages, even if it starts out where he has a clear disadvantage. Him going up against Pain, that should have been an easy win by most people's book, but he really held his own. So I'm saying, like, if he can hold his own against Pain, that to me tells me he could hold his own against Sasuke. And I also want to mention that one of Sasuke's like main moves is Chidori, but we know that Jiraiya is able to use Rasengan even more easily than Naruto, and he could probably spam Rasengan pretty easily. So my thing is, I think as far as like, let's start off with like the early Shippuden when we first see him, or we could even take Sasuke from the Deirdre fight. We know that Sasuke has
I
a
think
lot
that's
of
the first major fight with Sasuke after the time skip. So I think that's
exactly
when we actually get to see how strong he is. So I agree. The other fight.
yeah. So I think that at that point, Sasuke clearly has a deep bag of tricks of his own. He knows how to use his sword. He has, you know, great hands as usual. He has fire style jutsus, which Jiraiya also has. And Jiraiya, I would argue, even has more fire style jutsus than Sasuke, or he tends to use them a lot more creatively than Sasuke with the oil and whatnot. And then also he has his summons, and I think we can't sleep on the summons. The summons are kind of broken. We just don't see them used that often, but those could be pretty powerful.
I mean, the like Jiraiya's technique that he used, like summoning into the belly of the toad or whatever technique that he used against Itachi, like that technique like lives in my head like rent free. Like that's probably my favorite technique from OG Naruto. It just seems so strong at that time period. I do think those interesting summons are going to be like the most effective ones, right? Like I don't think Gamabunta is going to be as helpful because like Sasuke can summon Manda at this time, and I think Manda would just beat Gamabunta in a 1v1. But yeah, I do think Jiraiya has like a bunch of wonky summons.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, Jiraiya's strategy or Jiraiya's Rinnegan, in my opinion, is to basically land either a Rasengan or some sort of other technique on Sasuke as quickly as possible. And I think he's going to use the toads to his advantage to try to kind of either create diversions or create opportunities for him to really kind of change the landscape. Or because remember, he also has that toad that he just summons to just kind of like fall and sit on people. And he also has a couple other toads that he uses for various things. And the other thing, he also has his hair ability, which he uses to which he can just use for like a large area of effect attack if he needed to. Like he has a bunch of different ways, and he also has a number of sealing techniques up his sleeve that we don't even know the full extent of that might come in handy for him. So I think the biggest thing is, again, we know that Sasuke has his Sharingan. He can, you know, see movement and see jutsus really easily, but I think Jiraiya is tricky enough and also knows about the Sharingan well enough to be able to kind of circumvent that and find a way to, at least to find an opening. And I also want to ask you this. When it comes to chakra reserves, who do you think has a larger reserve?
I would probably guess Jiraiya, but it's really hard to say. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think like
I also think
yeah,
it's Jiraiya.
I think Jiraiya.
I think it's Jiraiya too.
They do say that like, I mean, I don't know if this is consistent. This is back in like OG that like to summon a giant, like creature, you need a massive amount of chakra, you know,
exactly.
for this physical space. Manda is the biggest. Manda's way bigger than Gamabunta. So like I think like Sasuke's like chakra reserves are kind of like it's not his chakra reserves seem to just keep increasing, but I don't know if I'm like conflating that with the Mangekyo. Yeah, I think I'm conflating that with the Mangekyo. Like he was definitely exhausted in his Deidara fight, like chakra reserve.
Oh yeah,
wise.
He pretty much was. He had to go in a curse Mark II mode in order for him to defeat Deirdre. And we can also talk about what factor that plays, because I think the one thing that would make me convinced that Sasuke could win a fight at the beginning of Shippuden against Jiraiya is the fact that he can go into his curse mark mode. And also I think the fact that once he gets wings, it becomes a lot more tricky to deal with him because he can then like attack from the sky and has the aerial advantage. So that's one thing I will give Sasuke.
Yeah, there's like two actual like pretty like so one the Chidori is kind of interesting because I think the Chidori is an Oincon, but like if Jiraiya uses that
It is.
porcupine like white hair spike, like he might take Sasuke out along the way. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's gonna work. Sasuke does have Kirin at this point. Like
True.
I'd say like because like this Sasuke doesn't have a major power up between this. Like this Sasuke is like the same Sasuke that would have fought Itachi and like Killer Bee as well, right? Because this is before
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, so like Sasuke would have Kirin, and I do think like Sasuke's like fight against Itachi is like pretty good, but we don't know how much Itachi was holding back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I don't know how to scale that. Could Jiraiya have done better against Itachi? Probably not, but Itachi probably would have tried to kill Jiraiya if it came to that. I have no idea. He definitely has a soft spot for Sasuke.
So, okay, I grant you that Sasuke does have Kirin, but Kirin is a one time move. So if he misses, that's it. Now, granted, I don't think he's gonna miss. I don't think he's gonna go through all that and miss. But I'm saying this is when Sasuke. These are like Sasuke's like last tricks that he has in his bag. And if we're gonna do that, then I think we also have to consider bringing in Sage Mode into the conversation.
Oh yeah, I was already like thinking once you said like Curse Seal 2, right? Like Jiraiya would probably go into like imperfect sage mode to counter Curse Seal 2. But like the tricky thing is like Jiraiya needs time to go into imperfect sage mode while like Sasuke can kind of go into Curse Seal 2 at any point. And this is
That's
where I was
true.
saying like yeah, where they fight is a big deal because like if they fight in a ring, like then that helps Sasuke a lot because he can just
Yeah.
go into that right away. If they're fighting in like a city, that helps Jiraiya because he can be tricky and run around while like absorbing nature chakra. So like I think Jiraiya has to go into the forest so that he can like be tricky, lay down some traps with some summons, and then try to like go into sage mode. But like I think if they're locked in a cage together, like that does not help Jiraiya unless Jiraiya is able to just get like that I don't know, crushing toad stomach technique out or something.
I'd agree. So how about this? If they're just in base and neither does their power up, are you giving it to Sasuke or Jiraiya?
Without power up base. Let's see. Sasuke doesn't have Susanoo really at this point, right? Without Susanoo and without being cursed too, I don't know if Sasuke can take like uh giant Rasengan. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think like a Godama Rasengan would take him out.
Yeah. Granted, I think Giant Rasengan might be a sage technique for him, for
Yeah.
Jiraiya. So we could take away Giant Rasengan. Do you still think it still goes to Jiraiya?
Yeah, I think so because like I think Sasuke's fastest techniques are also and his most devastating techniques are the ones that require a ton of chakra. So I don't know if
Exactly.
he can like fire them out a lot, and I think like Jiraiya can like avoid for and also Jiraiya's kind of a tank, to be honest. Like
Exactly. I was gonna bring that up.
yeah, like he's using his like other techniques. I don't know if like I think a Chidori that lands in the right place can take him out, but I think it's not gonna land in the right place. But I think he can still hit like 0 HP. Like we really don't know the high end of Kirin's power because we just saw like Itachi take it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
would it one shot Jiraiya? Like that's like really up to fans speculation. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just go with no, just because like if Itachi tanked it and Itachi's not known for tanking things, I think
But he
Jiraiya
tanked it because
will
of
be able to take
Susano,
it.
didn't he?
I think it's hotly debated because like there is no clip of it in the manga panels of Susanoo coming out. But let me check it up. Yeah.
Because my impression was that we saw Kirin fall, and then we saw the aftermath, and then we saw Itachi and his Susano. So I thought the implication was that he pretty much used it to tank Kirin. Now I think Jiraiya maybe doesn't just take. I don't know if Jiraiya could take Kirin straight up because I remembered when he tried to use it on Naruto when he first saw him in the beginning of Shippuden, they were like, "Don't use that technique." So someone must have been worried about him pulling that technique out on Naruto. Not that I think Naruto would have died, because Naruto is damn near impossible to kill, but clearly he thought it was enough to kind of like incapacitate Naruto, which is no small feat.
Yeah. I mean, just because he thinks it's gonna do that doesn't mean it will do that. But
That's
I
true.
agree.
Well,
Yeah.
this is what I will say. I do lean Jiraiya a little bit, only because I think that one, Sasuke, although he is very powerful and has a lot of abilities, I don't know how advantageous his Sharingan is gonna be. Now, granted, we didn't talk about the fact that he could like easily use genjutsus and throw that into the mix. I think Jiraiya is a little bit too clever to maybe fall for something like that, but I'm not gonna pretend like it doesn't take one glance in order for that move to work. Um, and I do think that again, as far as like win cons for Sasuke, Chidori's gonna play a big factor in it. But we know that Rasengan is strong enough to also counter Chidori. And I don't know if he can really spam Chidori at this point. I think it's still like a jutsu that he has to kind of like use semi intentionally. And I also don't just see, like, we just don't see Sasuke doing that much outside of Chidori and Fireball jutsus at that point. We know he is quite strong, so I'm not going to dismiss him on that. But I just feel like the thing with Jiraiya is, again, the jutsu where he basically summons the toad stomach, that's enough to change up the environment and kind of like throw Sasuke off or at least buy time. We know that Jiraiya can also be really tricky in terms of like summoning. I think his summons are still going to come in quite handy. Not necessarily Gamabunta, but if you wanted to summon Gamabunta, it's enough to just cause enough of a distraction, I think, in order for him to land the move. And I also think the big thing you mentioned was the tankiness between the two of them. Because Jiraiya tanked like an attack from Four Tails Naruto.
Yeah.
So that tells me a lot about how much damage Jiraiya can take. But nothing really kind of makes me feel that confident that Sasuke is like... Sasuke's strong, but I never considered Sasuke tanky. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think 1-2 Rasengan's max is enough to take Sasuke out. And Jiraiya could do 2 Rasengans at once. Easily.
Yeah. So I pulled up the panel, which is good because like I feel like every time I see this, this is debated when it's clear by Kishimoto. Itachi says if I hadn't had this, I would have been dead, and Susanoo comes. So Susanoo saves him from Kirin, which is how I remember it as well. But like I've seen some Sasuke stands say like, or Itachi stands say that Itachi just tanked it, and I'm like, I don't think that's what happened. But yeah,
nah,
it did not
he definitely didn't. He did not.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna give it to Jiraiya. Yeah, for the first one. And also, like Jiraiya might be able to seal Sasuke's curse seal. To be honest,
I was gonna say that too. He probably can, because we know that Jiraiya is incredibly versatile when it comes to sealing techniques. Like he was able to basically undo Naruto's seal like on sight, the one that Orochimaru placed on him. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was able to also contain Sasuke's cursed technique as well. I was gonna bring that up later when we added the level ups. So and also the other thing I would say is that, because you know some folks might be like, nah, there's still no way Sasuke would lose. I'm not saying Sasuke couldn't win. I'm just saying like you know, I would give the slight edge to Jiraiya, because if you think about it, Jiraiya is just a better version of Naruto, a much better version of Naruto. So
well, he doesn't have the multiple clones.
he doesn't have multiple clones, but multiple clones never really worked on Sasuke. That was like Naruto's least effective move against Sasuke. Every single time. Well, this man would literally make light work out of Naruto's clones.
Yeah, but the clones of Jiraiya would be stronger because Jiraiya is just a more technical combatant.
Yeah.
So he won't need as many clones to keep Sasuke busy. And
that's
also,
true too.
Normally I would say it wouldn't matter except for Sage Mode. The clones can buy time, so then his main body can transform into Sage Mode. Or another body can even absorb Sage Mode, so he can use Naruto's trick and transfer it into himself after.
Yeah, good point. So I think, yeah, to that point, that's why I would say like Jiraiya is like just a better smarter version of Naruto, and so I gotta give the slight edge to Sasuke. I mean to Jiraiya there. Now, granted, once we bring the curse technique in, and once we bring Sage Mode in, that clearly changes things. You know. So, what do you think happens then?
Yeah, I think with Imperfect Sage Mode, he like no divs Sasuke. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. I think the power difference between like a um a cursed seal jump and a sage jump is like not close, right?
that
Because
is
like
true.
if we take like Sasuke curse level 2, he was about as strong as Naruto and One Tails, right? In their first fight at the Valley of End, if
Yeah,
I remember correctly.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, like that's nothing compared to Naruto and Sage Mode. Like Sage Mode Naruto versus like one-tailed Naruto is like a whole different multiple tiers apart. So I feel like Curse Seal is not like I mean even think about like most of the like Sound 4, like they're strong with Curse Seal, but if they were all Sage users, like they would have just destroyed everyone, you know what I mean?
That's
Like
true.
say yeah, Sage Mode is just a whole different level. So like yeah, no, I think like the power up if Jiraiya is able to turn into Sage Mode, it would make the match like laughably easy. Because like at that point,
Yeah,
Jiraiya would take the speed and perception advantage. So like Sasuke would not be able to hit him anymore afterwards. I think even maybe with the Chidori, but like Kirin is way too telegraphed. Like Jiraiya's just not gonna be there, and I think Jiraiya's gonna be able to outspeed Sasuke. Like even if his eyes can track it, like Jiraiya's gonna be moving faster than like Sasuke can like respond. Kind of like when he fought Rock Lee. You know what I mean?
and I would also say that once he gets into Sage Mode, he also has access to a few more jutsus, and also has Udama Rasengan, or Massive Rasengan, which is like an instant KO against anybody. Like it took out one of the paths of pain. So all it takes is like one of those moves in order for him to be able to win against Sasuke. So I agree. I think that Imperfect Sage Mode, Jiraiya does beat Cursed Mark 2 Sasuke. Now, at that point, he loses after he fights Itachi. He loses his curse mark, but he gains his Mangekyo. Now, how do you think that changes things?
Tune into part two for that one because we know your lunch break is over. And this is how I sound when I'm not sick. But I'll be sick in the next video, part two. This isn't future editing me. I'll be sick in the next one. Got the same thing Naruto got in Boruto.